In the days when the judges rule, there is a famine in the land. A man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, goes to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name is Elimelech, his wife's name is Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons are Mahlon and Chilion. They are Ephrathites from Bethlehem, Judah. Bethlehem, the house of bread. But the bread has failed, and the family must seek food among foreigners. They enter Moab. They settle there. And then Elimelech, Naomi's husband, dies, and she is left with her 2 sons. A widow in a foreign land. Her husband buried in soil that is not his own. The sons marry Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they have lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also die, and Naomi is left without her 2 sons and her husband. 3 graves in Moab. Naomi stands alone, a woman stripped of husband and sons, with only 2 foreign daughters-in-law at her side. When Naomi hears in Moab that the Lord has come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. The famine has ended. The Lord has remembered his people. Naomi's thoughts turn westward, toward Bethlehem. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she leaves the place where she has been living and sets out on the road that will take them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi says to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness, as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." She kisses them goodbye, and they weep aloud. They say to her, "We will go back with you to your people." But Naomi says, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons who could become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I am too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters, it is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me." Naomi's words are sharp with grief. She sees herself as cursed, abandoned by God. But this is her perception, not the narrator's theology. The book will show that the Lord has not turned against her. He is working through the very losses she laments. At this, they weep aloud again. Then Orpah kisses her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clings to her. Orpah turns back. Her footsteps fade toward Moab, toward her mother's house, toward the gods of her people. But Ruth remains. Naomi says, "Look, your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. Go back with her." But Ruth replies, "Do not urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, be it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me." The words are spoken on a dusty road between 2 lands. This is not mere sentiment. It is a conversion, a transfer of covenant allegiance. Ruth renounces the gods of Moab and binds herself to the God of Israel. A Moabite, from a nation born of Lot's incest and excluded from the assembly of the Lord, now swears by the Lord's name. She binds herself to Naomi with an oath that reaches beyond death. When Naomi realizes that Ruth is determined to go with her, she stops urging her. So the 2 women go on until they come to Bethlehem. When they arrive in Bethlehem, the whole town is stirred because of them. The women exclaim, "Can this be Naomi?" She says to them, "Do not call me Naomi, call me Mara, because the Almighty has made my life very bitter. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi? The Lord has afflicted me. The Almighty has brought misfortune upon me." Naomi means pleasant. Mara means bitter. She returns to the town of her birth and renames herself according to her grief. So Naomi returns from Moab accompanied by Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, arriving in Bethlehem as the barley harvest is beginning. The harvest has begun. The fields are golden with grain. The Lord has provided food, and two widows arrive with nothing but each other. Now Naomi has a relative on her husband's side, a man of standing from the clan of Elimelech, whose name is Boaz. Boaz, a pillar of the community, a man of wealth and honor, and he is kin to the family that has been shattered. Ruth the Moabite says to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor." Naomi says to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." The law of Israel allows the poor, the foreigner, and the widow to glean what the harvesters leave behind. Ruth will use this provision to find food. So Ruth goes out, enters a field, and begins to glean behind the harvesters. As it turns out, she is working in a field belonging to Boaz, who is from the clan of Elimelech. She does not know whose field this is. She only knows she must work. But providence has guided her steps. Just then, Boaz arrives from Bethlehem and greets the harvesters. "The Lord be with you." They answer, "The Lord bless you." Boaz asks the overseer of his harvesters, "Who does that young woman belong to?" The overseer replies, "She is the Moabite who came back from Moab with Naomi. She said, 'Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters.' She came into the field and has remained here from morning till now, except for a short rest in the shelter." Boaz goes to Ruth and says, "My daughter, listen to me. Do not go and glean in another field, and do not go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting, and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you. And whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." At this, Ruth bows down with her face to the ground. She asks him, "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?" Boaz replies, "I have been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband, how you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before. May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." The blessing is spoken over a Moabite woman. Boaz sees in Ruth not a foreigner to be despised, but a woman of extraordinary faithfulness who has sought shelter under the wings of Israel's God. Boaz himself is practicing chesed, the Hebrew word for covenant faithfulness, loyal love that goes beyond what is required. He does not merely tolerate Ruth, he actively protects and provides for her. She says, "May I continue to find favor in your eyes, my Lord. You have put me at ease by speaking kindly to your servant, though I do not have the standing of one of your servants." At mealtime, Boaz says to her, "Come over here, have some bread and dip it in the wine vinegar." When she sits down with the harvesters, he offers her some roasted grain. She eats all she wants and has some left over. As she gets up to glean, Boaz gives orders to his men, "Let her gather among the sheaves, and do not reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles, and leave them for her to pick up, and do not rebuke her." Boaz quietly commands his workers to make her gleaning easy. He provides for her without shaming her. So Ruth gleans in the field until evening. Then she threshes the barley she has gathered, and it amounts to about an ephah. In the days when the judges rule, there is a famine in the land. A man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, goes to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name is Elimelech, his wife's name is Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons are Machlon and Kilion. They are Ephrathites from Bethlehem, Judah. Bethlehem, the house of bread. But the bread has failed, and the family must seek food among foreigners. They enter Moab. They settle there. And then Elimelech, Naomi's husband, dies, and she is left with her 2 sons. A widow in a foreign land, her husband buried in soil that is not his own. The sons marry Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they have lived there about 10 years, both Machlon and Kilion also die, and Naomi is left without her 2 sons and her husband. 3 graves in Moab. Naomi stands alone, a woman stripped of husband and sons, with only 2 foreign daughters-in-law at her side. When Naomi hears in Moab that the Lord has come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. The famine has ended. The Lord has remembered his people. Naomi's thoughts turn westward, toward Bethlehem. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she leaves the place where she has been living and sets out on the road that will take